everyone, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Robin, or A Hobbit's Reading List, and this week we are finally relaxing. October has been very busy, and we're gonna try really hard to get caught up on our reading goal. So my goal for the year is to read 108 books by the end of the year. Before last night, which was Monday night, I was at 83 books. So I was 4 books behind. So we're going to try to fix that this week. And we might cheat a little. I'll explain in a minute. So when I say cheat, I don't mean lying. But I use Storygraph to track my books. And Storygraph has a lot of different things on it that count as books, including novellas, also including speeches, because I did go through the syllabi for my classes to see what readings were on Storygraph and therefore counted as books. And there are some short stories on there that are like literally 5 pages, as well as speeches that are like 10 pages. So I say they count. So the reason I say like we're maybe cheating a little bit is because I did read a novella last night that actually my dad found for me. It was 14 pages, but it's on Storygraph. And I'll talk about that in a second. I then went through Amazon just to see if I could find any more that like weren't, a lot of money. I did find another novella. I think it's like 60 or maybe 40 pages. I don't know how many pages it is. It's short though. But it's about this. It's okay. It's called My Boyfriend Got Bit. And it's a vampire threesome / vampire polycule. I think it's probably going to edge into polycule. Essentially, there are these 2 men who have been in a relationship since they were in college. Eli is the main character and Rig is his boyfriend. Rig works as he works at a mortuary. He got a degree in mortuary sciences, and he works with his old college roommate, Alec. Now, Alec is a vampire. Eli doesn't know that, but we know that. I read 1 chapter last night. I want to say I'm 28% through, and Rig has started acting weird. But they're getting ready to go on a weekend trip to Alec's cabin, and Alec is going to be there, so that'll be interesting. I'm enjoying it. It's good. It's not the best. It's good. Because it's a novella, you don't really have a lot of time to get into the characters and really bond with them before the plot starts happening, which makes sense. But it does mean that it's okay, great. So I am enjoying it. But before I started reading that, I read the book that my dad sent me, which is called Lesbian Speed Dating by L.M. Bennett, I believe. It's 14 pages. It's literally just about this speed dating experience where the main character, Lennon, she goes to a speed dating event. She has anxiety. She doesn't really do the best with putting herself forward, and so she doesn't really get any matches. But she does end up talking to someone that she had met online previously, months before, who had ghosted her. And so they originally just start talking as oh yeah, yeah, you ghosted me, that kind of sucked, but you're really cool, we can be friends. And then by the end of the night, after Lennon hasn't gotten any matches or anything, she's going home, she runs into this girl again, and it's kind of do we want to just be friends, or could we maybe give this a shot? Because they sort of cleared the air, and the other woman whose name I can't remember, explained like why she had ghosted Lennon originally. So I thought it was good. Again, I didn't feel a tie to the characters, but that's really hard to do with novellas. So I did really like it. I gave it 4 stars. I thought it was a really good, just sort of like snapshot moment. Obviously, I would like more, but that's just because I read books for the characters, and so not having a bond with the character and then the story being over, like, obviously, if that had happened with a novel, it would be a very low rating. But because it's a novella, I'm not expecting to necessarily bond with the character. It's a good story. It made sense. It was free on Kindle. So that was what I read. So now I'm at 84 books. I am going to still read The House of Seven Gables this upcoming week. I want to finish it. But I think, because I do have My Boyfriend Got Bit on Kindle on my phone, just as I'm like out and about, like I'll just like read a little bit of that. So that's sort of the plan. And then Wednesday I will finish reading Subculture Vulture. So that's another one. So I'm really trying to knock them out. So we'll see what I can do. All right, but now I have to go edit, but I'm going to put in clips from my day with Stephanie on Monday where we went bowling and then went and got drinks and went to an adult book fair. Since I mentioned the adult book fair, I will tell you very quickly what I got. I got State of the Union by Nick Hornby, which is sort of a shorter book, so maybe that's something I could try to read this week. Of this couple going to couples therapy, and I think they go for drinks like before their session, where they sort of like check in with each other and how they're feeling. And I think it's over 10 weeks. And I thought it sounded really interesting. And I know I like Nick Hornby's writing, because I read The Polysyllabic Spree, which was essentially like book reviews that he did. So I know I like his writing, even though I've had High Fidelity on my TBR 4 times and I have not read it still. I do like his writing. And so I was very curious to pick it up. It seemed pretty short. I don't know how many pages it is. But so that grabbed my attention. And then the other book that I got was A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. I'll put it up since I don't have the book with me. But I thought it sounded really cute. I don't normally pick up straight romances if I'm buying books for myself. It's just not usually what I gravitate towards. But I read the synopsis of that and I'm like, okay, that sounds cute. And while it is a full-size novel, I have a feeling it'll be a quick read. So since I already know I'm not going to finish my TBR this month, I think if I have time, I may read it by the end of the month. It just sort of depends on how long House of Seven Gables takes me, because I could probably read A Witch's Guide in between House of Seven Gables and Thank You, Jeeves. So yeah, and A Witch's Guide is pretty much, it's exactly what's on the title. A Witch's Guide to Fake Dating a Demon. But yeah, so those are the books that I got. So now I'm going to edit, and we're going to just carry on, and I will check in with you when I read more. Good morning, everyone. Ignore that big pile of boxes behind me. All right. I finished reading My Boyfriend Got Bit. And I finished it last night. Upon reflection, I think I'm going to downgrade the rating a little bit, because while I'm looking at it as like, okay, this is a novella and it was free and I'm pretty sure like independently published, and I'm trying to take all those things into account in my rating, because like, was I expecting it to be a masterpiece? No. Was I expecting it to have super cliche language? Not quite, but it did. So like all the dialogue felt very like, it felt like reading like really bad porn video. Like that's, you know, like the maybe you don't know, but like they're like, you know, porn videos where it's like the dialogue is just super silly, and you could tell like this is just like the dialogue's just thrown in there before they like get to the sex, and like it's just to like make it seem as though there's character building before they get to the sex. But that's how the dialogue in this novella felt. So I originally gave it a 3.5. I'm gonna downgrade it to a 3, because again, I am trying to keep in mind it's a novella. I'm not gonna feel connected to the characters, but it's also just like, I read fan fiction, which is literally written by amateurs most of the time, and they have better dialogue in their like porn no plot one shot. So yeah, I won't be reading it again. But hey, it got me another book. I guess that's the thing that matters. I don't know. So I'm probably gonna stop with the novellas for the moment, because where I am right now, so I finished a book on Monday, I finished a book on Tuesday. I'm gonna finish a book tonight because I'm gonna finish Subculture Vulture. So it's 3 books in 3 days. It's pretty good. If I don't continue reading, you know, a novella, then that'll be probably it for the week. I just don't know when I'm gonna have time to finish House of Seven Gables, because tomorrow I'm gonna go do like a very like autumnal day and go to like, you know, a pumpkin farm and stuff like that. So I'll probably be out for most of the day, so I won't have time to read. Friday I might have some time, but I don't know. So I guess part of it is like, well, I kind of have to look to see what is available on Amazon, if I can get any other books for free. But yeah, that's where that is. My Boyfriend Got Bit, wouldn't necessarily recommend if you like dialogue. The spicy scenes were fine. It was fine. Other than that, I read some pages of Convergence culture, because I, you know, have homework, and so I'm reading it for my class. I will finish that chapter today, but it's all about like Star Wars, so it's kind of losing me. I've never been a Star Wars person, but it is interesting because it's all about like the grassroots like fan movement, and how audiences like take a mass media production and sort of make it their own through like fan art and fan movies and fan fiction and all this sort of stuff. So that's cool. But yeah, that's about it. So I'm gonna go to work. I have a decent sized break in between my meetings today, so I will finish reading Convergence Culture, and then I'll just probably start working on my homework for my other class, because that is also due tomorrow. And like I said, I'll be out for most of the day tomorrow, so we'll see. everyone. I realized I totally forgot to film yesterday morning and last night and this morning when I meant to. So, I'm now checking in. I had a really good time with Stephanie yesterday. We went to the orchard and then we went and got lunch and we came back to my house and baked some pumpkin bread. But I'm dairy free, and so making dairy free pumpkin bread, sometimes it doesn't work out. Like, it tasted fine, but it was dense. I also somehow, like, I got scratched. I think Bashan, our youngest cat, he tends, like, when I'm in bed, he tends to, like, walk on my shoulder and, like, sniff my mouth. And I kind of think he tried doing that while I was sleeping and he slipped. That's the only thing I can think of. Or my necklace is like scratching the hell out of me. But that would be really random because I've been wearing this necklace for like 2 months and it hasn't done that before. So that's super fun. Anyway, Wednesday night I finished listening to Subculture Vulture. And I really enjoyed it. I think Moshe Kasher is a wonderful author. He does really good like storytelling about his life and the different subcultures he was part of and why they're important to like our development. And so I thought it was really interesting. I gave it a 4.5. I thought it was awesome. And I would be interested in reading his earlier memoir about his addiction because he went into a lot about like his time in AA, but not necessarily his actual addiction. But yeah, it was so fascinating. I highly recommend it actually. And I'll be interested to see what the book club meeting about it contains, how it goes. So that's about that. I have a meeting starting soon, but I am planning, like, once I get done with work today, I'm going to Temple later, so I have, like, 2-ish hours to kill, so I'm gonna get some stuff done that I need to, like, homework, and then I'm just gonna try to read The House of Seven Gables and make a dent in that. Oh, I also started listening to Rebecca this morning. I only listened to, I think, like, 3 chapters, because I'm very tired. And it was kind of putting me to sleep. But I don't blame the book, I blame me. So I will talk about that once I've made more of a chunk. So. Okay, so here's the thing. I was really, really hoping to finish House of Seven Gables by the end of the week. I did not. Just gonna throw that out there. So Saturday, let me break this down. Okay. So I have a little spinning wheel, and that has my to-do list on it. And whenever it lands on read, it's like, okay, I can either just continue reading, but then I will probably only read and not do other things. So whenever it lands on read on the spinning wheel, I ask Siri to pick a number from how many chapters are in the book, and that is my threshold. So whenever I land on read, I ask her to pick a number within the threshold, and that's how many chapters I read. All that to say, Saturday I landed on read. I asked her to pick. House of Seven Gables has 21 chapters. She picked 20, so that's a great threshold. That's nice and long. And then I was like, okay, so within the threshold, how many chapters should I read for this reading session? She picked 15. And I'm like, that's great. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I can try to read the whole book in a day when I've been working on it for a week. So I sat down, I read 2 pages, and then Chris was like, oh, I wanted to hang out. So we, which I don't mind. Like, we have one day off together, so I wanted to do that. So we hung out, we did some errands, we went shopping. I didn't read any more that day. So yesterday I had a pretty light day at work. I'm like, okay, cool. I ended up landing on a read again, and she picked 16 chapters that time. So I'm like, oh, okay, great. I'm going to try to finish it today. So I had like 2 chapters in the morning, and then I had another meeting. I still had to drive to Illinois, even though I had a very light day. And then when I got home, it was like 6. Chris was working till like 9. I'm like, okay, let's see how much I can get done before Chris comes home. So all of this is to say that it took me 3 hours to read about 4 chapters, in addition to the 2 I'd read that morning. I'm only on chapter 10. I don't know why. Like, I have so many different theories of like why the horror books that I read this month have just, which like realistically there's only been 2. There's The Haunting of Hill House and then House of Seven Gables, both of which are about haunted houses. So I'm like, do I just not like haunted houses? Like, as a place to go, like, not particularly, but like I didn't think I would mind reading about them. So there's that. I am still going to, in the upcoming week, still gonna try to finish the book. I am also, however, going to have to toggle between House of Seven Gables and Thank You, Jeeves, because I need to have that done as well. So, I'm very sorry if people are actually expecting me to, finish a book this week. Technically I did, but they were novellas and not on my TBR. So, love that for me. Yeah. If anyone wants to leave me a comment of encouragement to read House of Seven Gables, I would appreciate it. Because for some reason, it's taken me so long. Like, I think it's a combination of, like, it was written in the 1850s, which, like, I don't necessarily mind. But, like, the language in it is, like, it's so wordy. There's a ton of exposition. I actually don't need to know what every room in the house looks like. Thankfully, it's not the, like, Victor Hugo thing of, like, I'm going to describe every room in the house, even though we're not going into that room ever. It's not that. Only the rooms that we're in are being described in great detail, but it's still a lot of detail, and I don't necessarily need it. So there's a lot of exposition. There's some characters that, like, I only care about one of the characters, and unfortunately it's the character where the most creepy things have happened. And I haven't even gotten to, like, the really creepy part of the book, I don't think. Just, like, the one character I, like, really like and am interested in is, like, her name is Phoebe. She's late teens, early 20s. She's a cousin of the family who owns the House of Seven Gables. And all these men keep coming up, be like, oh, I just want to, like, spend time around you because you're so young and beautiful and nice. And it's like, leave her alone. So it's like, it's kind of creepy, but not the way it's supposed to be. Like, I realize that's not, when it was written, that probably wasn't considered creepy. It's creepy now. But yeah, that's pretty much where I'm at. Terribly sorry. November will be better. I'm much more excited about the books I have on my November TBR, except for one. I will give a spoiler. The Count of Monte Cristo is on my TBR again, and no, I will not be reading it. I will have to figure out a plan to get that done. But that's going to be it for this week. I hope you enjoyed all the, like, activities that I did. Those were super fun, even though they kept me away from reading. But leaving a comment, like the video, subscribe, click the notification bell, all that good stuff. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to start on next week's vlog. Bye.